Hello, hello.
The chaos. I know I start most shows, especially when we're face to face and in person. Most shows I start with like, you guys don't understand the chaos
Yeah.
that happens as we lead up. Today we were discussing what chaos. We were discussing Shrek.
Well, we got started by the topic. I asked Olivia of how does she feel about live action remakes and specifically all of the Disney live action remakes.
And all roads lead to Shrek.
And all roads in this office, if you don't know, now you know, they lead
Lead
to
to
Shrek. And what I very impassionately said is
Please
that
tell
I
me.
need the Shrek soundtrack to be available to listen because I need the fairy godmother version of I Need a Hero.
Which I did belt it out
She
like
did.
4 or 5 times in this
Phenomenal.
office, and nobody told me how good it was. And you have to know, like, it was on. I don't know how it not been discovered. Welcome to the Medicare Cafe. You are joined always as by your host. My name is Olivia Richardson, and today we are running it back. We have a live
Second week in a row.
3D
3D. I'm
version
here. I'm here.
of Will Pierce. Will, thank you for coming
Thank you for
in.
having me for
I'm so
another
happy.
week. I'm excited to be here in person in
Are
3D.
you?
Yeah, I am.
Last time I threatened, like, it's when you're not here with me, like,
Yeah.
I can't smack you or
You-
do anything like that. So,
Correct.
like, you heard
I
that.
expect a physical smack at some point in this episode, and if I don't get it, I will count it as a failure.
Honestly,
Olivia.
at this point, it's
On
involuntary
record.
for me as well.
Okay,
Like, I will be
perfect.
just as surprised as you are. I do things and I'm like, Olivia, this is recorded. HR might be watching. HR doesn't watch. They don't
watch
know this.
Cafe. We're
They
good.
don't know this exists. Guys, welcome. I was like, what is that music? It's the Shrek. It's the Shrek.
All
playlist.
roads lead to Shrek.
I found the Shrek playlist and it's still playing on my phone. Guys, today on the cafe, really excited to. Well, first of all, before I get into it, if you want to interact with the chaos that is senior marketing specialist talking about these topics, this is my real phone number over
Text
here.
it.
That is my real number. You can text me at any time. I always try to make sure I get back. But again, I don't have enough friends to not justify not giving out my number publicly. So please text me. Otherwise, I get very sad.
She does.
Or
Can
if you
confirm.
have a YouTube account, you can also communicate with us via the live chat function. So if you want to do it live and you're okay with other people seeing what you put it in there. If you just want it to be a little secret sauce for me, make sure
Please
you text
don't say
me.
secret sauce.
Please don't say secret
I don't
sauce.
like that.
What is that? That is something like, what's the secret sauce? Like it's McDonald's.
Oh, the Big Mac
Oh,
sauce is
never
that
mind.
secret?
Now I'm upset.
I mean, like Chick-fil-A sauce is just like ketchup and mayo, basically, right? That's the basis for every sauce. Is either
It's
ketchup
ketchup,
or mayo.
mayo.
One of those two, or mustard. If you
mustard.
know it on the
Yeah.
East Coast, if your mustard-based barbecue sauce.
Is mustard an East Coast thing?
I think that's
This
where
is
the
disgusting.
mustard-based barbecue sauces are at. Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
I love
We're
what
really
we
good
do
at
here.
staying on topic when I'm in person, I assure you.
What I want to talk about today is actually something I'm super excited. And it wasn't even like it worked out that Will could be here in person. It worked out, but like I'm so happy that this is the topic today. We're talking about how to make the most out of your social media presence. We're talking about how to take things and like the effort and just the history of social media and business and things like that. We're not going to talk about the history much today, but just talking about how can you be using tools like Facebook, LinkedIn, should you be on TikTok?
Yeah.
How do you get that to the most, to make the most impact on your business?
Yeah, I'll scrap all my notes if we're not talking about the history of social media, of just like the founding of Facebook. Well, I guess now Meta, but we'll scrap all that
Yeah.
and save it for another day. But I'm really excited about this topic today. I think everyone, if you're a business owner, I really don't care what type of business you own, but I think you need to be on social media. And I think not only do you need to be on it, but you need to be active.
Yeah.
I think there's honestly almost nothing worse in 2026 than an inactive business Facebook page. If I go to your
Yeah.
feed and you haven't posted in 2 years, my first question is, are you still in business?
If you haven't posted, like, honestly, in a month.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, you can get a little bit of leeway week to week.
Sure.
But 2 weeks in a row to a month, if you're not posting,
Yep.
people are having questions about, like, is this actually, like, a real business?
Yeah.
Are they an active company? And that's such a, and it used to be that, like, we were having to convince agents to get on social media.
I still do sometimes.
That's crazy to me that people, what's the reason why agents aren't getting on social media?
A lot of them have a general disdain of social media themselves.
That's true.
And what I'd say to that is, I hear you and I feel you
Mm-hmm.
to a degree. You know, I'm mostly on Facebook so that my wife can tag me in pictures of the kids and all of my friends can see the wonderful things our beautiful children
Oh my God, they're
are
so
doing.
cute. They're so fun.
That's most of my reason for being on there. But I'm also not trying to run a full-fledged agency with
Yeah.
serve thousands of people at the time. And Olivia, you talked about a little bit of leeway week to week. I actually disagree with that statement when it comes to
Really?
posting.
Okay.
I do.
I'll tell you like what you should do, but like there's also this bare minimum. What's your thoughts?
I think it comes down to what's your intentionality with
Mm-hmm.
it. If you want your Facebook feed to be nothing more than a, hey, I exist, I'm here, I think once a week is fine. But if you want it to actually drive consumers to you in the way that
Mm-hmm.
we know it can and it should, especially if you're a magnet in your community, you got to be posting 4 or 5 times a week,
Yeah.
honestly.
We used to say 3 times minimal. I
Yeah.
mean, like, I think minimally 3 times a week is fine, but I mean, we're starting to see it used to be like you don't want to do too much. You don't want to do,
There's
you
no
know,
too
this.
much
There's no
anymore.
longer a too much. And a lot of that reason is because the way that the algorithm works. Let's start with okay, well, let's get into it. Let's first, before we get into like how often and the kind of content,
Yep.
let's talk about like where you should be. Like,
Yeah.
what are the social media avenues? So there's really 3 that I broke it down into.
Okay.
And it's going to be based on the audience you want. And I'm not
Okay.
saying one's more important than the other. I think they're all equally as important,
Mhm.
but the audience is very different
Yep.
for our market.
Mhm.
So the first one being the obvious Facebook.
Yeah.
I think the number one demographic that's growing in social media is going to be the 55 plus. Like there is the amount of people who are over the age of 65 that have and actively use Facebook is astonishing.
Yeah. Yeah, not only like use it and just be on it, but there's a growing trend that we're seeing where people are actually searching on Facebook and on social media rather than going to Google
I
looking for
know.
things.
Especially like for services, for
Absolutely.
restaurants, for
Yep.
things like whenever I'm going to purchase something with my money, people tend to trust Facebook
Yes.
over Google.
Absolutely. And I think the power and the value behind that is something that we're seeing a big rise of right now of what I call community groups, essentially. So like for those that don't know, I live just north of Des Moines in the cornfield and pig-filled state of Iowa. More pigs than people is your fun fact of the day about
more
that.
pigs than people in Iowa.
More pigs than
Are the
people
pigs?
in the
No,
state.
I'm not going to make a meth joke.
Yeah.
Just know that I could,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
going
yeah,
to
yeah.
because I am an adult and respectful of
Yes.
your neighborhood.
Yes, there we go. And so where I live, we have a Facebook group called the People of Ankeny, and 80%, I know it, it's terrible name.
No, like everybody has that. That's
Everyone
my favorite.
has something like
That's
that.
my favorite.
And I would be willing to wager more than half of the posts in there are, I'm looking for XYZ service to get done. This is the issue that we have going on. Whether it's plumbing, whether they need a financial advisor, whether they need a CPA, they are always looking for some sort of professional service in there. And if you're not in there, you're not even in that group as an individual, your business page aside, you're going to miss opportunities to plug yourself.
So let's talk about that really quick. Business versus a personal page. So my personal page, I think if I'm trying to advertise my agency, especially if I have growth in my future, if I know that it's just going to be me and I'm never going to add staff, I'm never going to add downline, you can get a little bit away with or get a little more creative with that. But if you're wanting to build an agency one day or a part of an agency, you are going to absolutely need to have a professional business page that remains active and making sure that that is one that's tied to, again, it makes it, if you have a business page, you're easier to refer, you're easier to tag, you're easier to search. And especially if you're somebody that has a local community or you do a lot of your business locally, Facebook loves local. So it's going to push you in those local groups. It's going to make you much easier to find versus your individual page.
Yeah, I would even say, even if you don't have plans to add staff and grow to be, a megalith in the area, if it plans to just be you, I'm still a big believer in having, and just have it be, John Smith Insurance, even if you don't have an LLC or a DBA name to your company, of just having it be separate.
Yeah.
I will always draw the line, and I may be an outlier on this, but I'll stand 10 toes down on my statement
If
here.
I've heard you say that once in the last 2 weeks, you've
I've
been
been
picking
on fire.
a lot of hills to die
I'm
on.
very impassioned in my
You've
opinions.
become
Those that
very
know me know
impassioned
me.
and the most random. I'm here for it. I love it. I love
Yeah, Olivia's all
if
aboard.
you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything.
Correct,
So
absolutely.
what are we standing for?
I'm a big believer
10
that you
toes.
don't friend your clients on Facebook,
Oh.
especially in the industry that we're in. And I think not only the industry that we're in, but a lot of the political climates that we're in now, I think everyone has the right to their own opinion on that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're not careful and you're friending your clients and they're on your personal Facebook feed and you're sharing political opinions or societal opinions onto there, you also run the risk of someone choosing to not want to do business.
For
with you.
sure.
I think
Or
there's a
not
really
give you
important line.
referrals. Like
Correct.
if I have a friend, like if it's just you're somebody that is a really strong conservative, you're working with somebody, they may also be a strong conservative, so you might not feel uncomfortable to share your views with them. But then they say, well, I'm not going to refer this group of people
Correct.
because they're not going to get along because
Yep.
these people are really liberal,
Yep.
or vice versa. So great point.
And I think that aside, you've got to have some kind of separation, right, between
Mhm.
life and work. Otherwise, everyone always jokes of, well, I don't want to be tied down to a 9 to 5, but here I am working 180 hours a week because I'm constantly working in my business.
Yeah.
If you don't have any separation, that's going to be a constantly compounding problem. So
I see the point. See, I'm a little different because and it's not because you're right, I'm wrong, or vice versa. It's because I don't post that stuff on my personal anyways. And so for me, it's like, let's talk about what the purpose of Facebook is, and that might clear some things up. So the purpose of Facebook isn't necessarily, it can lead to lead generation, but it's not designed for lead generation. It is to build a personal relationship on a mass basis with your clients or prospects, which means that a great use of your Facebook is to be a little bit less business oriented and a little bit more personal. People want to work with friends. People want to work with people that are familiar with them and people that they know. And so whenever you're posting things about your office staff, your family, or things like that, still in a professional setting, Facebook is a very appropriate place to do that. Where you still get to have your boundaries. If you don't want pictures of your kids and everybody know who your kids are, you don't have to do that. But it allows people to feel like they have a personal connection with you, but you're doing it on a mass basis, not on a one-on-one basis. So there is a line of thinking of like, should your personal Facebook page be as involved? I think there's a lot of pros to it, but if you are going to have yourself as a person use your personal Facebook account as something that kind of drives business or drives becoming, basically you're kind of turning yourself into an influencer or turning yourself into like a business. It does kind of get rid of that line. You kind of forfeit your right to use your social media in a more personal manner. It's not wrong, but you have to have the right expectations when you make that transition.
I love the point that you just made about the relationship aspect of it. I had a LinkedIn post the other day of a lot of agents feel like they win clients and they win, referrals because of the price or the plans, but you're winning it on trust and rapport that you've built and everything. Like that's how you generate business. And so Facebook is a great avenue to build trust and to build rapport and have people like, oh, okay, this is someone I can actually like go to and have a real conversation
dogs.
with.
I know what their pictures look like. I know what their office staff looks like. It's building that familiarity. So we'll get into like what you should post. When it comes to Facebook though, video is king. The algorithm loves video. So a regular just a word vomit on a post does not work. You have to do a video at best or a picture at worst. We'll talk a little bit about that because I want to talk about like ads versus regular posts. I want to make sure we have time for this. You mentioned LinkedIn. Let's get into LinkedIn. I think a lot of people maybe are sleeping on LinkedIn, but the audience is going to be different on LinkedIn than it is on Facebook. Facebook is a business to consumer. LinkedIn is business to business, and it's designed to be that. So there is you can do some like consumer reach out there, but people aren't on there looking for who should I work with when it comes to accounting or my insurance or anything. They're looking for strategic alliances. So it is incredibly important. And like, oh my gosh, Will, I'll just kind of tee you up on this. You've used social media and because of LinkedIn, you've now been invited to speak at several different NABIP events. You have several agents reach out to you saying, I want to work with senior marketing specialists because of you. Tell me a little bit about how you're using LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. So my approach to LinkedIn is a big value add push. So there's a lot of stuff out there right now, whether it's, industry updates, carrier news, compliance updates, various things happening within the industry that impacts you guys and your consumers at the end of the day. And it can be really tough, one, to find the time to read all of these freaking articles every single day that seem to come out, but two, to know what they actually mean. If we're talking about like CMS final rule, funding updates, various other things going on, there's a lot of between the lines reading that needs to be done. And sometimes is more impactful than just what's on the surface within that. So it's a lot of driving conversations around what are we seeing for growth that's helping our other agents, and then what's going on in the industry. So that B2B or business to business connection is huge because not only is it very viable for that, but LinkedIn actually has really good SEO. And so if someone
That's
Googles your
so
name,
true.
if you have an active LinkedIn profile, it's going to come up pretty high in the Google results search.
Over Facebook.
Yes, a lot
Like
of times.
more than Facebook.
Yep, absolutely. And so if someone sees that and they come across your feed and they're a financial advisor, for example, and they see this person's on top of it, they know what's going on in the industry, they're posting really good insights, like they seem like a wealth of knowledge. Maybe I should return their phone call if you're trying to do some cold referral outreach, especially.
Well, I think a lot of it too is I'm giving without asking.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn. It's I'm giving content, I'm giving value, and I'm not asking, I'm not selling. It's
Right.
I'm selling nothing. I'm not advertising that you should buy this program, you should do that. It's literally just like here I am providing value, and it's the long play. I think all
Absolutely.
social media is the long
Yes.
play. That's why I say it's not designed for lead generation on any platform, but it's how do I build my familiarity? How do I show my value? How do I come more referable? It isn't, you're not going to see a lead come in within the first week. It is a long game, but it does, and it's hard to measure the success of it.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to be consistent and to really dedicate yourself to having a presence. Tell me how, I know we'll get to content here in a little bit, but how are you using AI specifically for your content when it comes to LinkedIn, which is more business to business. Let me show my value. Let me give thoughts on this thing that you might be hearing about.
So I touched on it a little bit when I said that, listen, there's a lot of articles and a lot of news that goes out every single day. And you always have to weigh the line of, is this site trustworthy? Is this just a fluff piece? Who's actually the opinion author on this one? There's a lot to factor into. So some of the things that I've done is I use Claude a lot for this.
Big Claude fan.
I've actually trained it to essentially be like a news search machine for me, that I've given it a list of prompts and things to look for, whether it's topics, certain industry sources, relevant news articles, and companies that put out trustworthy pieces.
Yeah.
And when prompted, it runs a search for me to look for articles that are posted within the last 5 business days, and then grab just the 5 most relevant ones based on what I've trained it to know about me as a person in the audience that I serve.
Like, what do I care about?
Correct.
So it's a personal assistant that's helping
Pretty
you
much.
find the content.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
So again, we're talking about when did you use Facebook, when you link it. Now, Terry, I always say this is Terry, longtime listener. Article the other day said Facebook has been going downhill because of all the crappy ads. How do you separate from them? So again, like that's why you're seeing people who are early adopters, which typically tend to be the younger generations, are getting away from Facebook and leading into TikTok, leading into Instagram, leading into alternative ways of connecting or disconnecting, depending how you see social media. But the baby boomer demographic, again, that 55 plus, is actually still pretty frequent users in Facebook. And so a great question of how do you separate yourself from the crappy ads? One, you should not be doing many. I'm not going to say you should. The majority of your posts are not advertisements. It's all value add. We'll get to the Facebook content here in a second, but it's all about the content and what are you pushing? What are you saying? What does the industry or what does the world see you saying? So advertisements, they can work, but my goodness, is it a poo storm when it comes to advertising?
It's rough right now out there. You know, Meta's made a lot of adjustments to the ad algorithm on that. And I will say I did catch an article this morning that's actually talking about they're trying to crack down on some of these scam-related ads that are impacting seniors especially. So they're looking at a few things within that. But again, that's for future conversation on this topic.
Let's get into TikTok.
Let's do it.
Because I think TikTok, this is where I will say like my boomer is showing. It's like I won't download TikTok.
Okay. Why?
I won't download it because of lots of reasons. Number one, I was in the beginning, I was nervous about like this app from overseas that's scamming, you know, like the government saying, which again, we won't get into what we can believe it, the government conspiracies, tinfoil hats. We're not going to get into that, but we could.
Yes.
It was a big warning. And it kind of started with like my apprehension of just like, it's not worth my security and my personal information is not worth this form of entertainment.
Okay.
Now it has turned into, if I download this app, I will be on it for hours on end. I don't have self-control. I am a doom scroller.
Yep.
So I don't have it because I don't think it would be good for me and my health and me and my family.
Okay.
But I do understand that it is a growing place where people are going to advertise their business and put this value. Your thoughts?
Yeah. So my thoughts are, I think TikTok's a great spot to be if you're a business owner and insurance agent right now. And one of the reasons that I say that is we talked a little bit about Meta's algorithm. The TikTok algorithm is
This is chaos.
from a like learning and data standpoint is actually phenomenal, and I don't know that it can be replicated again because it curates feeds so finely and so precisely that it will really push your content in front of individuals. And I think we talked about the long game.
And can I ask you a question? And
Yeah.
it's cross-platform, right? So
Correct.
if you Google something that says, you
Yep.
know, I'm turning 65 or Medicare information, TikTok will see across platforms that this is information or content that you're interested in. Or on your Facebook,
Correct.
you're looking up insurance agents. So now it's going to push that style of content to you on TikTok. It's not
Correct.
siloed.
It's not singular channel.
Yeah.
On that, it spreads its reach out, which like from a data standpoint, I totally understand anyone's concerns around something that is
It's so
feasible
scary.
to do that.
So
But
scary.
when you look at the opportunity basis and the opportunity cost you may face down the line to not be on that platform
Yeah.
is huge right now. I mean, you can get a TikTok pushed across your feed that's 3 months old.
Yeah.
That's content doing the work for you that
Yeah.
Meta just does not
So
do that.
true. A Facebook post or a Facebook reel, once it's up there, it runs its course and then the algorithm quits pushing it. That's a
Right.
really great point. And I'd also like to push that who is the audience on TikTok, right?
Correct.
So in my experience, what I'm seeing is that the baby boomers are still a little slower. They're
Absolutely.
gonna hold on to the Facebook until it actually dies off.
They're gonna watch those reels.
They're gonna
all day
watch those
long.
reels all
so
day
post
long.
reels as well is also the summary. you
Yeah,
should be
we
getting
gotta
out of
get When TikTok, who is the audience? You're talking about the demographic for there is obviously the young kids, but you're talking about caregivers.
Yes.
So anybody, whenever their parents are turning 65, or even grandparents, if depending on how involved they are, you're talking to and TikTok, sometimes the actual decision maker for these people who have questions on their financial health and financing their health care. And so knowing that that's the content is going to be talking about what questions should you be asking on behalf of mom and dad? What questions, you know, when you're looking for potential assisted living facilities for mom and dad, these are questions you need to ask. So just understand your content isn't going to be as driven to this is how it affects you. It's going to be more how does it affect the caregiver?
Yep. Some of the stuff that does really well on TikTok from, you know, financial advisors, insurance agents, and other kind of professional lines like ours is, I call it whiteboard content, but it's where you actually have a whiteboard like behind you and you're physically writing on it. That lands really well because people love visuals at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And your point about the caregivers being on there is spot on. Both of my in-laws are in their mid-50s and they're on TikTok, scrolling around, watching videos, and they're also both the decision makers for their parents when it comes to their care. So that's the audience that you're reaching out to on TikTok. And not only are you touching them now for, you know, for their parents' care, but by golly, there's a lot of other necessary products you can also be plugging along the way if they do reach out to you. Hey, you know, 80-year-old mom also needs help of, hey, you know, what are you doing for long-term care?
Yeah.
What are you doing to fund your retirement as you get older?
And I feel like it does a better job of encouraging interaction.
Yes.
Like, I mean, it does a better job, and it makes it really easy to share. It makes it really easy to spread the content. So it's actually the algorithm, the platform is actually, like you said earlier, it's working for you. And I'll tell you this. Let's kind of transition into the content.
Okay.
The more polished. I'll say this for TikTok, for Facebook, the more polished it is, the more it hurts you.
Yeah. Which feels so funny.
Which feels so funny. Yeah. It's people, when those are what you're doing in those algorithms is you are showing you are a live person, you are showing you're a human, you are showing having people feel like they have a relationship with you. You're also providing value. You got to provide value in that, but you're doing it as a human, not doing it as a company or as an organization. So having a hiccup in your word, using a whiteboard versus having an edited whiteboard edited video, like people want to feel like that's why podcasts I think have gained such popularity. It's because podcast, like Medicare Cafe, makes it feel like you're having a conversation. You're just listening to it. It's just it's a human experience that people are trying to tap into. Yes. Stacy, I got to meet Stacy at Medicarians, and oh my gosh, Stacy just killing it out there. Like one of my favorite humans, Stacy. Thoughts on Instagram? Any way to use it effectively? I want to get your perception on this, but understand that Instagram is owned by Meta.
Yes.
And so it's really easy. Like if you're going to make a post on Meta or Facebook, you might as
Share
well make the post on Instagram
Yep.
and just share it. I'm a huge believer in the more places you are, the more places you will be found.
Correct.
And so there isn't, like we're talking about, like there isn't too many places to be. I'm going to challenge myself on that. I had a really interesting question one time, somebody asking about, and this was kind of early days of
Okay.
Marketplace. Should I advertise my business on Facebook Marketplace? And my
No.
response then was no.
I'm still no.
And I'm, well, 100%. And it was because you want to, I don't want you to do anything to cheapen the brand.
Correct.
And Marketplace is known for secondhand discount,
Oh, yeah.
things like
I
that.
love Facebook Marketplace. Don't get me
Oh
wrong.
my gosh, you and my husband both. You know, I came home. I came home the other day, and my husband literally said, "Hey, like I'm getting some stuff dropped off. We were adding on to our shop, so I wasn't paying attention to the weekend. We have a shipping container next to our shed from Facebook Marketplace. I don't have the energy to go into this. I got on late, so I may have missed this, by the way. Boomer here, who is on TikTok multiple times a day. Stacy, 100%. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you are. It's growing. The boomer demographic is growing on TikTok, but right now we're really seeing Gen X and Gen X is really kind of flooding to TikTok more than others. Anyways, but that was my pitch on Instagram. Yes.
Yeah, what I'll say to Instagram is Olivia hit on it earlier. No post on Facebook should be text only. Everything should be accompanied by an image or a video.
Accompanied by. I feel like I'm in Bridgerton. Must be accompanied.
We
Chaperoned
just
by.
finished the new season 4, by the way, the other night.
I love
so
Mason
if you're
Bridgerton.
not caught up on it, do watch, and I say that as
Hey,
a male audience member here.
Bridgerton, if you're looking to who is it called whenever you get brand deals? We'll get a brand deal with Bridgerton. Netflix, hit us up. Yeah.
Boom, perfect. But every post that you make on Meta that has an image or video, share it to your Instagram feed. Since they're owned by the same parent company, it's really easy to connect the two in your business manager there, and just share to both platforms. Knock out 2 birds with 1 stone, and just continue to put content out. Instagram doesn't have nearly as strong SEO reach anymore as it used to, but again, it still does. And the more regular content you've got going, the more Meta's going to drive your stuff.
Well, it's the same amount of work going twice the
Right.
places.
All
Like
you
you're not
push
doing
is
anything.
little toggles, share on Instagram.
Share on
and
Instagram
you're done.
or share on Facebook. It's
Yep.
just it's super, super easy. So
Yep.
yes, do it. Not because I think it's any more effective, but just because why not at this point? Final thoughts when it comes to content, because we do just have a couple more minutes, but my biggest things is we don't sell on Facebook. We don't sell on Facebook. We don't sell on Facebook. I think all my high school friends think I'm fat, ugly, need better makeup, need better jewelry, because I get the whole like, hey girl boss, like,
Hey girly.
hey girly girl, haven't spoken to you in the last 20 years since high school, but
There's a
hey girly
reason for
girly.
that.
And so people go to Facebook, and I will say this, when it comes to Facebook, people go to Facebook for friends, hobbies, family, cat videos. That's why people are on social, and food recipes. So making sure you're posting content that appeals to that, while also making it appealing to the demographic you're trying to attract.
Yep.
So another thing is there's like any value. This goes for all platforms, but like we love a video series. Videos are great for Instagram, obviously TikTok. Videos don't work on LinkedIn.
They don't drive nearly as much
Which is weird,
impressions.
yeah.
But what I'd say to the video series stuff right now is a great time to be building that out. We always kind of joke that summer's the slower months when it comes to the industry. It's never really slow. You guys all know that. But in the grand scheme of an entire 12-month picture, that like May to August stretch does slow down a little bit. So video series on prepping your clients for what fourth quarter might look like for them. If you're in a market that's been PPO heavy for years, maybe a 3-part video series of what is an HMO. Kind of toggle down some of those fears in case come Q4, you need to move a lot of people over to HMO plans. You've planted those seeds early. So whiteboard content, again, for video series goes phenomenally well. I think you want to show that you are the resource with any content you put out. You're not selling. You're not saying, I can get you a plan G for $125.
Right.
Call my office today.
Yeah.
Terrible move.
Yeah. Definitely want to show that you're one, building the relationship, being more familiar. So posting content of like your office staff. Like I love to see people do like get to know our receptionist, get to know our agent, get to know our customer service rep, you know, depending how big your office is, but getting people to be more familiar with the rep with what your office is makes a lot less anxiety about like coming into an appointment or things like that.
Yeah.
So that's really key. But also like I love we have like any presentation that you would do, like top 10 things you didn't know about Medicare, 5 things Medicare doesn't cover, veterans benefits in Medicare, which by the way are all PowerPoints that we have made, we'll give to you if you want to do presentations, but making them like a 5-part video series. And there is 5 posts or a couple weeks of content at least that you could be talking about. And I love, again, don't make them polished, make them human. Do it from a car. Do it from this in a car. The only thing you have to make sure the sound is good, make sure the lighting is good. If you can do those 2 things, you're golden.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just honestly, giving bad content is worse than no content.
Yeah, I think that's fair. What I would challenge anyone watching this that has office staff that wants to do some of those get to know me kind of office staff videos, go around your office and record yourself asking every single person in your office what their go-to karaoke song is.
What a fun question.
I love that question.
Do a mini mic moment. We just bought a mini mic for us. I used to be using it at
really into mini
Medicarians.
mics
I'm
now.
huge, and it has a little fluffy thing that looks like a squirrel. And I'm here for the mini mic squirrel moment.
I just think that question is so fun and so low pressure, and like I always love to hear people's karaoke songs.
Don't prep them for it either. See the panic on their face.
Right,
I'm
absolutely.
so mean.
So
don't work for me.
Drop your karaoke
so
songs
mean.
in the comments if you have one that you're impassioned about. Like, listen, mine's Friends in Low Places. That is the go-to for me. Anytime I get called up to karaoke, that's what I'm doing.
Kerosene by Miranda Lambert.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's a deep cut. Yeah.
But something low pressure and light and goofy like that is what's going to draw the people to want to work with you.
Get the people's going. Guys, that is what we have today. We should probably do a part 2 on this, on how to make the most out of your social media presence, because we could hardly even scratch the surface. But there's so much. Again, the conversation is no longer should I or shouldn't I. It hasn't been that for years now. It's how do I get the most bang for my buck? We didn't even get into when is it appropriate to pay and advertise versus when, what's the purpose of that. So let us know. We do have experts here on team. Will obviously is one of them. Clayton, Ben, members of their teams as well that are happy to have conversations about how do you make social marketing or social media part of your marketing plan?
Yeah.
Because we don't say it is. Like if we have a 3-prong marketing system, social media is not one of those prongs. It's like having business cards. You're just doing it. Yeah. But there are things that you can do that is actually investing dollars into it that can turn it into a lead generator. Generator. Is that a real word? You know when you say a word enough times it is no longer a word?
Reality afterwards.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Guys, really appreciate that. Part 2, by the way, born in Iowa, raised in Austin. Love the pigs comment.
I knew someone would resonate with
the
that.
pigs. Today. It's so funny. I didn't know. So the vice president of Senior Benefit Services, our sister company, Clint Geyer, grew up on a pig farm. And so him and I obviously work really closely together. So we'll be talking through stuff. And I have never heard somebody have just so many hog references, like hog metaphors or like hog points just on standby. And so like
ready to go.
It's hilarious. And I'm just like, I didn't know that this meaning existed, but
well, now we need Olivia, you have to have something now. If Clint's got hog references, Olivia needs something.
Yes, because there's not enough weird about me. You're absolutely right. Oh, yeah. Guys, we appreciate you. We'll do a part 2 at some point. Next week, we will be doing a recorded episode of Medicare Cafe. Will and I will be on the road. So we will not, nobody will be here. Nobody will be here in studio. But we do have a recorded version that is going to be with the Ryan Kimball, president of Integrity Health. Him and I sat down at Medicarians and had he did laugh at my jokes. So like he thought I was,
that's a win.
I wanted to get him to laugh, and I did it. I don't really care what other content was there. He laughed.
Olivia just blacked out once the laugh happened. 100%. We don't know what happened.
Well, he also called me out because he's actually been asking to be on Medicare Cafe for like 4 years now, and
you got to earn the right.
That's what I told him, and I don't know how he felt about it. Guys, join us next week to watch the interview with Ryan Kimball. We will see you the week after that, of course. Text, message. Excited to see you guys. Do you remember the sign off?
I believe so.
So until next time, have fun
Make money.
and give impeccable service. Nailed it. Thanks, guys.
Boom.
Ayo.